everybody. Happy Monday. Excuse me, it's Monday. My air conditioning is going on. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. It'd be fun to hang out and just, oh, the chat is in subscribers mode. I don't know how to change that. Oh, well. I should probably, how do you do that? Oh, hi, Jamie, still. If you were able to comment, I don't know. I messed up this. I'm just sick of politics. What can I tell you? My life is not about politics. I mean, I'm so bored. I'm so bored with talking politics. It's just more to life. Don't you agree? People want to. Hi, Connie. Good to see you here. So I thought, there's got to be a way to hang out with everybody and not talk about politics. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hello. Could somebody answer some questions about sports for me? She heard me talking to you guys, so she has to be here. Hi, did you want to say hi to the group? They're over here. You have to look over here. Anyway. Hi, Feisty, Butterfly Tarot. Do you guys know what's going on in sports? Oh, honey, I love you. But you got me sneezing again. Is there like some game or something? Like what was... Yes, hi. What do you want? You want to say hi to them? They see you. See Melinda Dusher? She just laughed. Paisley's here. Ocean View. Vincent Ward. I'm doing good, Vincent. Thanks for asking. Oh, that's all she wanted. Was just a little scratch behind her ear. Sometimes I just don't know. Is that all you needed? It's just a scratch behind your ear? Okay. Yeah, that would be fun. We could try and talk to dead celebrities and people who have passed over just for entertainment purposes, because I take it all with a grain of salt, but why not, It's not very pretty. I moved this because I was cleaning today. I've gotten into the whole Zen clean where I'm anybody else getting like that? So I was meditating earlier today, and I was thinking about energy. Monday Night Football, right, Jen? So what the? Oh, hi, Greeter TK. Yes, I love you too, Mila. So, am I bored? I'm bored with sports. I'm not bored with you. I'm not bored with the channel. But my heart isn't into talking about, politics is kind of a low vibration. And I think it's all stupid anyway, since we all know where we're headed. So why do we all have to become freaked out every time some idiot politician says something? The green economy is the only one left, so we might as well just get on with our gardening. There's other things. Get on with us participating in the new green economy, right? We all get to participate in creating heaven on earth, starting with our own lives. Are you happy? How can you become more happy? What do you need to do in your current situation to create heaven on earth? For me, it means having more plants in my home, learning, more herbal medicine. That brings me joy. Studying the herbs, studying the plants, sharing my love of the plants with everybody else, because that's my bliss, right? And it also helps the planet Gaia, because it helps people become more connected with the earth and the plants, hopefully in ways that are sacred and will respect the medicine, the plants, etc. So that's kind of what I'm up to, is creating heaven on earth for myself, right? Hopefully you guys are doing the same thing, right? Hopefully we're all in this process together of creating heaven on earth. I mean, I planted in my garden, my little mini garden, I planted maybe 8 tomato plants. That's a lot of tomato plants. So I just ate the first 3 tomatoes that I grew. So that's pretty cool, I think, right? I'm participating in using the space that I have to create more clean air, healthy organic gardening in the middle of downtown Portland. And I'm also buying mushroom samples. I love the guitar, but I won't make you suffer through it, Mason, because I know it's not that good. My voice, I think I think my voice is my instrument, and the guitar just kind of gets drug along reluctantly. Everybody has their instrument, the bongos or whatever. Anyway, so that's, that's the whole gig from the meditations, is to just tell people that life is not as hard as we think it is. I mean, I think that that's the takeaway, particularly if you grow up in an environment where you struggled a lot as a child or you saw a lot of suffering, right? I was watching a module on Introduction to Buddhism that Richard Gere narrates, and they were talking about this idea of life is that the Buddha never said life is suffering. It was more like in life you encounter suffering. It's kind of interesting. How can you alleviate your suffering and become happy? So it's interesting. So when your feet are 9 and 9, when you're size 9.5, what do you do when you want to go on point, ballet point, right? So I saw these interesting shoes for people who have big feet. They're ballet slippers that only have the point and a strap so that it's easier to dance, but they don't have the box. You can't go on point. So, but that would be an example of me wanting to fulfill a kind of personal heaven, right? Being able to do ballet in my home. I don't need to perform with the Bolshoi. In fact, I'd rather not perform. I would rather not do that, right? But I like to dance around my apartment while I'm cooking and cleaning. Over 9, Connie. I'm 9.5, which usually most point shoes they cut off at 8 unless you have them specially made for you. There are some prima ballerinas that are over size 8. Yeah, I used to be able to go on point when I was a kid, right, Connie? You can go on point when you're 60 pounds, 70 pounds, 80 pounds. But when you start to go through puberty, I think that's when a lot of dancers start to really struggle, and it's difficult. Oh yeah, I bet there is, Holly W. I love the New York Ballet. I had a friend who was offered a position at the New York Ballet, but she was so physically exhausted because she was dancing all the time, and it was her one dream in life was to dance for them. But when she got back from this, she danced for like this performance for like a year, and then they asked her, and she was like so exhausted she turned them down. So like I hear horror stories from friends of mine that have like fulfilled the dream of becoming professional dancers, and it sounds absolutely horrible. And I think, well, I don't want that. I want to dance and be happy, but I don't. She said, trust me, Whimsy, you're getting exactly what you need to get out of dance. You don't want to be a professional dancer. It sounds like a really rough life. So, yeah, we can hang out. We can do silly tarot readings on celebrities because they're public figures. So, I have no ethical problems with that. I don't do card readings on missing people because, out of respect for the family, fugitives that are missing, sometimes I do that, but that's usually for the class when people do profiling. But we could do dead celebrities. We could do dead famous people and see what their cards look like, see if anything comes up. Oh, hi, Sheila. Sheila Inquisitive Tarot. It's a new channel, right? Archaeologist. How fun is that, Linda? Hi, Ron Unconditional Love Tarot. Good to see you as well. So maybe Ron and the other readers would like to pipe in. What is your favorite thing to do tarot readings about? Like, what do you really love? What do you like, Sheila? Like, what do you really love to throw cards on? Just like, I gotta know. If you love celebrities, if you love celebrity, if you love celebrity people who channel celebrities, I have a treat for you. I have a big, big treat for you. My physician's assistant is a medium, and he's a professional artist and a Chuck. Some of you know Chuck. And he channels the actors as he paints them. He can, he has a relationship with them as he paints them. So I'm hoping I'll be able to interview him and some of the things he senses about the celebrities when he paints them, like he picks up things about their lives. He really feels that he knows them when he paints them. So it's going to be a really fun interview when I get a chance to. Yeah, it's really cool. James Dean. He used to have dreams of James Dean. Anybody remember the actor James Dean? Yeah, I mean, he used to have full blown James Dean showing up at the bed saying, "Look, I need you to do some stuff for me, Chuck. You need to wake up." Like that was one of the first, like when he would, that was the first experiences he started having. And then he was an artist, so he started painting murals and painting James Dean. And somehow, some way, I don't know, Chuck decided to show people his James Dean art. Also, he had tattooed James Dean on his arm or something in honor of James Dean, right? So who do you think contacts him? James Dean's people, right? So who do you think got to paint the mural for the James Dean and the bed and breakfast and all the stuff all the stuff for James Dean? It's all being painted by Chuck. So it's kind of interesting that James Dean, he was having dreams of the ghost James Dean. I need you to paint this, and then if you could do, and he just started doing it, and now he's the official person painting for James Dean in James Dean's hometown. And so if you want to see his paintings of James Dean, he's channeled James Dean, Judy Garland, Lucille Ball comes to him a lot. Um, and the stories that, the things, he basically does HCRV while he paints. But yeah, Chuck Dransfield, I'll give you his name, and you can check out his work on on Facebook. I'm sure he'll Facebook friend you. Whimsy sent you. Yeah, Betty Davis. Yes, he has done Betty Davis. Amazing stories about Lucille Ball when things that Lucille Ball has, things he hears when he's painting Lucille Ball, like arguments between Lucille Ball and her children. And, ooh, I don't know if I should have heard that. stuff that, because you get into the Akashic field, right? Just like somebody who does HCRV, a medium gets into the Akashic field. So he gets into a lot of artists will get into, a lot of you are artists, right? So you'll get into that trance-like state, right? And you'll start doing your stuff and you'll start channeling from somewhere else. And so if the subject, the target, is James Dean or Marilyn Monroe, what he started doing, because he was a medium without consciously trying to, is he started actually, and then in some cases people would just start literally showing up and telling him whatever. And in the case of James Dean, it led to him literally becoming the official portrait artist for that community that was organizing the bed and breakfast, etc., for the James Dean community society, whatever. So, is it just the person's imagination? Maybe, but wow, what are the statistical odds that, right, that he would wind up in James Dean's hometown doing the mural and everything that Dean had said, look, I need you to do. Serendipity, imagination, whimsy, who knows, right? Let's do the Impasse Prayer and let's have some fun. Does that work for you guys? No politics. No, we're all burned out. And by the way, I've received letters from people telling me to please stop with the politics for just Sunday show is fine, but we need to do more than that. We are more than political people. Would you all agree? Yeah. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys so that we can make the best decisions for ourselves, for our families, for the planet, for the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, as a community, we say, Amen. Amen. I love that prayer. Sometimes I say it 10 times a day. Hi, Shivani. Yeah, no politics. If you guys want politics-free zone readings once a week, just let me know, because I'm more than happy to give it a rest. Message from Betty Davis. We'll just call it Message from Betty Davis. What does she want to tell us? Does Betty Davis have anything to tell the group? Well, yes, the immediate feeling I have when I go into the energy of Betty Davis is the fact that she's saying, it's really interesting energy. It's almost like she's saying, if you're a female who's a perfectionist, immediately they call you crazy. You can't be a perfectionist. She's also talking here in this energy about being a director, so we can go back and check that. But she's basically saying that she was writing, she was directing, she was producing, she was acting, and she expected everybody to show up on time, be a professional. She was extremely high strung. She has a lot of regrets about that. She's embarrassed by her behavior. She probably today would be diagnosed as CPTSD. They'd probably diagnose her borderline, bipolar, etc., because she has this kind of emotional, erratic energy. Chariot, she's moving, traveling, a lot of active energy with her. But she was ahead of her time. I see her wanting to be behind the camera, wanting to produce, wanting to direct, wanting to edit the scripts. No, I don't like this. Go back and change it. Perfectionism. You see, she's the Ace of Wands. She wanted to direct, darling. You're not the direct. You don't direct me. I direct you. That's the energy I feel when I go into Betty Davis. And above all else, professionalism. Perfectionism, no excuses. Eight of Pentacles also moving in. It must be right. This kind of hyper vigilance over somebody's work to the point where they're a bit of a control freak. You know what I'm saying? This is somebody who's like, I have to have control. Ace of Wands. Oh, it's going to get worse, honey, with her cards. And you know it's going to get worse. Moving, fast energy, Chariot, Ace of Wands. I got to go. I'm going to win. I want it, right? You feeling this? And then perfection. It all has to be perfect, right? What do you think would be the cherry on a cake like that? I need a prop. Wait for this prop. It's going to be worth it. My way. My way. I seek justice absolute, and justice absolute is my way. God damn it. She is the epitome of the Queen of Wands, right? So what you get when you get the energy of, excuse me, of Betty Davis is fast moving, high powered energy. She makes her own money, business, entrepreneur, perfectionist, strict, disciplinarian, my way or the highway. So, basically what I feel when I go into her energy is that she's saying that if she were a man, it wouldn't have been an issue. But because she was a woman, she expected everybody to be on time and she expected to go through all the scripts. And if I sound like a floozy, I want to take it out. If I sound like a moron or if I don't like the way that sounds, I want to be able to have the power that this actor and this actor and I want directing credit and I want to be producer too. And no, you may not cut my salary. I'm doing more work than Gable. So why is he getting twice my salary? And I'm the one that gave you the script and did the list. So it's that kind of an energy. She was ahead of her time. But it's cool. I mean, she's showing me herself as like the professional woman, 30s, 40s, behind the camera, doing the writing, that, she feels that she was somebody that helped perfect that image, that you could be beautiful, that you could be feminine, that you could be confident, that you could be funny, that you could be professional, that you could be your own person. Ace of Wands, Queen of Wands. I think it's classic for her. So that was wonderful. So that is Betty Davis. Oh, that was awesome. Wasn't that cool? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, somebody like that driven to perfection, I think would be difficult to have as a mom, right? People tell stories about having to sit down and write thank you letters in perfect penmanship. Do it again, right? In Mother Dearest with Crawford, it's the same kind of an energy. It has to be perfect because you're a woman, right? You have to be better, right? You have to be perfect, yeah, because this is a man's world. So she had that kind of Ace of Wands, and yeah, she's right though, in a way. So to some extent, she's saying that discrimination, sexism, etc., made things harder for her and created a lot of the problems. Ocean View says that Tom Petty's birthday is October 20th. She was an Aries. Okay, so that's what she's saying in the remote. She's saying that she's an Aries. I mean, I guess that's what she said. Who here likes Tom Petty? All right, let's see if we have a message from Tom Petty. This is fun. Isn't this so much better than politics? Message from Tom Petty. Huh. He's talking a lot about mistake. Wow, I went right into that. He said that his biggest regret in life was that he did not take people's feelings seriously enough. That he kind of, it's interesting that he's talking a little bit about sexism here in the sense that he would just, he was always laughing, having a good time. And sometimes he did not sometimes he avoided serious situations, serious conversations when he should have been dealing with them. That's a big regret. He's the clown and the joker where the woman says, "Where are we going in this relationship?" And he laughs and he dances out, onto the dance floor and parties with his friends. And that's his answer. I don't want to have this conversation. That's kind of the energy you feel when you go into Tom Petty, this regret that I I led my life, but it was kind of like the carefree, he was the carefree gallivanting boy who, uh, Ace of Wands is what he leads with, which is a phallic symbol. It's the erect penis. It's, successful in business, entrepreneur. This guy's having a great time, right? He's leading with his schlong, right? The girls like him. Everything's a joke. He doesn't want to talk about commitment, man. He wants to party. Ace of Wands, and she's cute, and there. What's your number? It's that kind of an energy, and then comes Seven of Swords, flees like a thief. I'll call you Tuesday or not. So this is somebody who regrets that they led with their whatever and then couldn't really commit, or he hurt people. His behavior, his brash behavior hurt people that he now realizes he deeply hurt people that he cared deeply about. And there's a profound awareness of that. And that relationships, boy, he's really getting into it tonight. He says relationships that could have had that had beautiful beginnings, could have had a beautiful middle and an end, but that didn't happen because of my issues. And he also says that he was limited in terms of how far he could go down the road because he was basically a drug addict. So I don't know, man. This guy got pretty deep with us, right? So leads with his penis, flees commitment. Things get off the ground, but they don't go beyond that. Four of Wands, because what he's really committed to is his drugs, his sex, his rock and roll. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. So that's the regret of his life. It kind of kept him from intimacy in this lifetime. Oh, I use protein and greens. Wow, this is a really good message from him. By Paradise. You guys think about what he's saying. I don't know a lot about him, but I like that song, Free Falling. I'm an Aries too. Yeah, that's right. He had a great second marriage. Good. He lost a lot of relationships because of his philandering ways, from what he's telling me here. Yeah. His philandering ways cost him relationships. That out of control penis, right? Leading with his this is also male ego, entrepreneurship, but he had trouble maybe with monogamy. He had trouble staying with one person, and that fleeing of intimacy, or, refusing to sit and be held accountable for his actions. He needed a hard-headed woman who's holding him accountable. So if he had a successful second marriage, it's because she held him accountable. You have the thief who's controlled by the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands takes no BS. She's in her power. No, you're not going to call me a crazy you know what, which is what men with personality disorders always do when they're caught, right? How do you know when a guy has a personality disorder? When he talks about his crazy ex. That's usually code word for, oh, really? What did you do to make her crazy? Right? So this is the guy who flees the crazy ex. And then you have like somebody come along like Yoko Ono, or perhaps it was his second wife, right? Who, no, you're going to be held accountable for your actions. No, that's not acceptable. Unacceptable. That person who comes in, Queen of Wands, to him. So the strong woman came to him and made him, he was prevented from fleeing. He was held 100% responsible for your past behavior. And then, the clarification, relationships that never got off the ground. Free, like free, woohoo, the free falling. It's that night of, it's this person that always keeps you in a superficial relationship. He was never able to hang up his addictions. He had the issue. Ultimately, the bottom line for him was that he was trapped in his personality disorders or issues because the drug addictions protected him from doing the deeper work. It was the ultimate struggle, was his addiction to drugs. It's very unfortunate, but that's basically how it ends. And then we have possible death or hanging up, and then the addiction. It's unfortunate, very talented man, but it goes back to emotional immaturity that a person can have. And so when they get stressed out and they don't have any way to cope with it, or they feel, or they're surrounded by sycophants that are telling them, oh, you're wonderful, Tom, you're wonderful. You don't have to answer to her because you're Tom. Petty, you don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to answer. I'll call you, babe. I'm going to go hang out with my friends and make some music, or I'm going to go, or maybe he's going to go have another affair, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's that kind of feeling, free falling. Yeah, doing my drugs. And then this woman comes to him, the Queen of Wands, and says, hold up, you dork. We're going to have a little conversation here. So it has that kind of an aspect. But ultimately, in the end, this person is struggling with addiction. Oh, very interesting. We should do this more often. This is fun. Do you guys think this is fun? Or is it just fun for me? You can get into the Akashic records right away, particularly if a person has soul fragmentation from a trauma, because you can start retrieving information. We're getting to the heart and the emotions of the person that is, the identity or thought form or consciousness that's thought of as Tom Petty. And when I put myself in his shoes using the cards quick technique as an empath, I felt regret when I looked at those cards, like that I was a bit of an ass, like I felt as him that I couldn't be the man that the person was asking me to be, that this is somebody who fled because they were a boy and not a man and were afraid they were going to be called out. And so they flee before they get held accountable. They flee before the other person can see that they're just a boy. So this is somebody who makes it out like, well, I'm going to go hang out with Susie, or it's that kind of free person. And Betty White, let's take a look. What's going on with Miss Betty? Betty White. He stayed married for 32 years. Wow, good for her. That was the yeah. But he seemed to have limits to how intimate he could go, and did not look like he was monogamous. Okay, so Betty White. She's making a decision about not taking on new work. It's interesting when you go into Betty White's energy, it's somebody who doesn't have a lack of work, but instead is being limited by how much work they want to take. You have a Two of Pentacles coming in, right? Juggling two jobs. It's almost like somebody coming in and saying, would you be interested in doing a TV series in addition to ABC? I don't want to commit to something like a TV series at my age. I want to like focus on my dog or whatever. So she has this Two of Pentacles coming in, like more coin, more job offers, and then she has to make a decision, has to make a conscious decision about pulling back on what types of shows she does. It's one thing to sit in her living room and do a morning talk show and just contribute. It's another thing to go and commit to something like a weekly show. So but she has this 10 of Wands here, so she has to be very, very careful, Betty White does, about potentially overwork. And then you have here a crash. So I would say to her with cards like this, it's okay if she starts slowing down. It's kind of like, well, you've got a job here, you got a job there, and hey, they want to bring back Golden Girls, and then it's all this stuff. It's like, I'm 100, like it's like, wow, when I was a starving actor, how many years ago, I would have jumped at this opportunity. It's like all this work. Yeah, the warning here is about don't sign any contracts and overwork. It's you have here juggling coin contract. We got a new deal for you. Has to make a decision. New deal. Here's the clarification. Ace of Wands. Learn to say no to the work, the truth, the boundaries. And then if she overdoes it, potential for health crash, right? So it's like anything in life, the older we get, the more we have to balance what do we really want to do. So that the I would say that Betty White is kind of like still, so there's only one Betty White, right? So and the older she gets, the more famous she becomes. So and there's only one Betty White. So that's basically become the problem for her, is that she's actually got more work than she wants. Those types of cards, which is cool. It's kind of like the lesson: work at being the best version of you can, and that's probably the best thing we can do for ourselves, right? Aw, sounds like something Betty White would do. Help the zoo. Hmm. So yeah, if anybody wants to do another one, we can do another one. Frida Kahlo. I heard that was a good movie, but I never saw it. Oh, I was going to ask people, how's your energy levels been? Like, have you been feeling really tired the last couple of days? I feel like something's going on with the energy. Like, they call them downloads, right? When there's like a major download, it's almost like we're computers. We start to get slow, and we're getting closer to October 31st, right? So there is this feeling right now like we're all like getting, and the veil is getting real thin, right? And today, I think we came out of retrograde, thank God. Was that today? But today I got up, was my day off, was doing my work, and then I just was exhausted. I mean, I did a little bit of stuff around the house, and then I laid down at 12:30 in the afternoon, just like, I'm just gonna, and I woke up again at 2:30 in the afternoon. I felt like I was on drugs or something, just completely out of it. And I had an appointment, a doctor's appointment, and so I'm like, I get into the Uber, and I'm like, it's like, what is wrong with me? Um, so Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe energetically something's going on. Like, it just, does it feel like pea soup to you? Have you been having that pea soup? I was like, what does it feel like today? It feels like pea soup, like that kind of energy of like, all right, Frida. Yeah, so maybe it's one of those downloads. Maybe, because when that happens, by the way, my advice to people is to just go with it. If you can afford to, let your body just rest, drink water, and just, your body's doing what it needs to do. Yeah, my body, yeah, like I was almost like waddling today, like, what the hell? Strange. All right, Frida Kahlo. Similar energy that we've gotten in the past. Very fast moving, very erratic. I don't know anything about this person. It could have been that they had a turbulent or violent life, or an emotionally, it looks like it's a life that there was a lot of instability. You can see here again, fast moving energy. She was somebody who, her energy is all over the place. And then the tower here, potential violence, or this kind of this is someone whose life doesn't look stable and safe. Chariot and Tower. Those are two major arcana cards, both of which can be, they're fast, they're often violent, explosive. She could have been perceived of as extremely aggressive in her lifetime, because she has also an Ace of Wands. So this is someone who, I know what I want and I'm going to get it, right? This is somebody who's got her eye on the prize, right? The Ace of Wands. And then she also has the King of Pentacles here, which is like a business motivated person, a person who, Ace of Wands fights for their space, right? Just like the Queen of Wands, to have, potentially access to their work. She busted her tuchus. This is somebody who might have been perceived of as a workaholic, fast moving, erratic, maybe working for 20 hours a time, may have experienced poverty at some point, or had financial instability. Four of Pentacles, violent crash. She doesn't look like she had a lot of money or financial stability. Her art, I don't know if she had any kind of a drug or alcohol problems, but she's seen as somebody who, her art was like a gift. It was something that was divinely inspired. It was something that was given to her. The Star over her work, the Ace of Wands. And then the final outcome over her business feels to me like a betrayal of something. I don't know what happened in the end of her life, if someone betrayed her, someone stole her business, or something like that. But there was something about business got between her and her relationships to such an extent that it may have even cost her relationships. Maybe she felt used by her business partners or something of this nature. The money, the business. Her art turned into a business, and that may have been a problem. Or her husband, that was her husband. See, I didn't see the movie. I'm glad I didn't see the movie, though. It's very sad if that's what happened. So, this is somebody who turns what she's doing into a business. And yeah, that seems, she's this emotionally erratic person doing this intense, brilliant stuff. And then there's this person who's making a business of it. Yeah. Oh, she drank alcohol? Oh. All right, you guys. I have a question for you. If you wanted to go on a not too expensive vacation for 5 days, maybe 6, Christmas holiday, where would you go? Don't say Timbuktu. Some place that's not more than, say, an 8-hour flight. Wouldn't it be freezing in December 25th in Finland? Bali is an 18-hour flight. London's 12 to 14 hours, depending. Arizona. Dublin. Find some relatives in Dublin. In Dublin's fair city, Sedona, Vancouver, Santa Fe. Santa Fe, that sounds interesting. Do you think I should go to the Canary Islands? I don't think so. Nashville. Oh, thank you, Shivani, for supporting the channel and the Sedona. Well, someplace hopefully that's going to be open restaurants on December 25th. Where's Mallorca? See, I'm a typical American. I have no idea where that is. Cayman Islands. What about Mexico? Everything would probably be shut down on Christmas Day, though. What about Hawaii? Room and hotel, if it's just 3-star at Hawaii, if you fly out Christmas Day for 5 days, might not be too expensive. Would Jamaica be open on Christmas Day? Sedona, Hawaii, Kauai. Yeah, see, the problem is if you go to Mexico, Central or South America, it's a very religious part of the world. And so everything's going to be completely shut down on Christmas. Whereas if we go to, say, Jerusalem, Israel, everything's open, right? If I were to go on a cruise, a Christmas cruise for 5 days out of, say, Long Beach or Los Angeles, that's set up to be a Christmas cruise. That might be cool. Or a Hanukkah cruise. It's set up to be a Hanukkah cruise. What about Belize? Yeah, something to think about. New Zealand, about well, you have to go to Australia, and then from Australia, usually you spend a couple days in Australia recovering, and then you fly to New Zealand. Canada. See, I grew up on the Canadian border. I wanted to do something I'd never done before. For example, I've never been to Kansas City, Missouri. I've never been to Missouri. I've never been to Tennessee. I've never been to Florida. I've never been to Texas. I've never been to North Dakota, South Dakota, Hawaii, Alaska. Come on down where, Carolyn? Tahiti. See, I was thinking Tahiti, R. Harris, 4473. I'm trying to live really, really. See, y'all know I live really, really frugally. I never bought property, I never had kids. Don't be jealous of me. Those of you, one person said, not all of us can travel the way you do. We've got mortgages and grandkids. And I thought, well, lucky you that you can afford to have a house with a mortgage, and lucky you that you had kids, which resulted in grandkids. I have neither, and you had your choices. I have mine. I live in a studio, so I can live frugally and fulfill my dream of traveling a couple times a year. To each his own. Tennessee is beautiful. Wow, I bet it is. I also heard that Arkansas is really beautiful. I love the Multnomah Falls Feisty Butterfly Tarot. Yeah. Hawaii's, we're leaning towards Tahiti. These are places we found unbelievably cheap deals because we're flying out on the 25th, right? We're looking for places that are cheap, but like you're not going to be able to afford them usually. Belize, Marrakesh, Morocco would be nice because it's a Muslim country, and so maybe more things would be open. Whereas in Mexico, everything would be shut down. Everyone's going to be in church, right? Everyone's going to be taking mass and doing whatever. Oh, good, Bori. So hopefully you get to travel. Hi, Renee. What are you doing, Renee, for Christmas? Are you going to the East Coast? I don't want to go to the East Coast for Christmas. Too cold. Morocco? Okay, we'll go to Morocco. Anybody want to come with me? If you do room plus hotel, 5 days in Morocco, 3-star, you could probably get a deal for, excuse me, under 1,500 if you want to hang out with me in Morocco. Yeah, it's not expensive. 5 days. 5 days is plenty. Spend 2 days in Marrakesh. Maybe spend a day in Fez. The Tangier. Yes, easy to be a vegan there too. So if you're vegetarian or vegan, it's considered one of the top places to visit because pretty much everything is vegan except for the meat stews. It's amazing. So you're not, excuse me, so vegetarians are not going to starve there. Daniel, you want to go to Morocco? Anybody else want to go to Morocco? Let's take a poll. Who here wants to go vacation in Christmas? And if you do, where do you want to go? Or do you just want to stay in the U.S. and go visit the Rocky Mountains or something? No way, it's going to be another cold winter. So are you staying in Portland, Renee? Do you want to go to the Bahamas? What about the Bahamas? Maybe I should go to the Bahamas. How about that? Take a cruise to the Bahamas. Leave from Florida. No? I only go with companies that are certified by the Environmental Ocean Conservancy. They have there's 2 or 3 cruise lines that are passable. Norwegian Cruise Line made the list. Celebrity Cruise Line, Disney, and Princess got off the list and then got back on the list. So people that were not able to go on Princess before, they got back on the Clean Oceans list because Princess, they're green. They're doing the green recycle. Yeah, M Golden, Norwegian's probably the strictest right now. But Disney is getting up there too. And if you want to do I like Disney's attitude about environmentally safe cruising because the goal is to have it be safer than, say, taking 1,000 people and having them drive around Yosemite, because the amount of environmental damage when people do that, and gas guzzling, et cetera, is actually more harmful to the environment than the current system that companies like Norwegian are working on, where everything's controlled, contained, the waste is controlled, everything's recycled. New Jersey is beautiful. I actually really think it's a pretty, yeah, Princess is back on the list. That's right, our Harris. They got like a C something rating, or they lost because they were caught dumping or something. Somebody got caught dumping in Mexico or something. Yeah, because Norwegian always makes the list, I always go on Norwegian. Also, the great thing, Norwegian's gotten really advanced. Like now they're talking about growing their own. They want to eventually have a greenhouse. Um, and they have they have a full vegetarian vegan whole section when you go to eat, with Indian curries and everything, so that it's completely set up if you're trying to be carbon neutral. The reason I wouldn't want to go Disney is because I don't want to be around kids and all. It's, yes, Disney has Disney has the highest. It's the highest environmental rating is Disney, but I just don't want to be around kids. But I'm glad that they're finally addressing it, because a lot of seniors want to go on holiday, and to make them feel bad that they can't take a cruise when they're a senior, it's nice that they now are saying, okay, this is an option for you. Not everybody can hike through the forest, I don't mind a couple kids, but I don't want it to be a bunch of families. I want to, be with adults. Yeah, I like quiet. I like quiet. Linda G wants to go to Dublin. Yeah, I want to go to Dublin too. And I know that Celtic Tarot Sheila is Irish. She's like 90, something like 90%, right? I think that's so cool. My DNA, I'm 4%. 4%. Well, that's better than nothing, right? But I do have a lot of Scottish in me. Yeah, which is pretty cool. So, you guys want to do a cruise? So, those are your options if you want to do a cruise with me. We can do Norwegian. These are the safe cruises for the environment right now. Norwegian, Celebrity, and Princess, sort of. And I'm not doing Disney. I can't do crazy scream. There's a reason why I didn't have kids, okay? I like kids from a distance. There's a little bit of Irish in all this. I wish. I love Irish music. I just love Irish music. Um, there's so many cool cultures out there, and so many cool types of music. And oh, you're scared of cruises, Robin? Oh no, they're very safe. But um, go with a good company. Go with an ethical company, like Norwegian's ethical, and go with friends. So that you're not by yourself. Cruising with Norwegian. Also, Viking is getting good ratings now. Viking cruises. Spoke to some people that took a cruise on Viking cruises to Iceland. Um, when they clean your room in the cruise on the cruises, they leave a COVID home test. So when you get up, you take your COVID test and you test negative, and then you can go about the cabin, etc. So you have to be twice This is if you go a Viking, but I'm assuming it's the same Norwegian. You have to be fully vaccinated before you get on the cruise line, and then you're tested daily. You do it yourself in your cabin. So it's actually one of the safer ways because it's so closely monitored. But if you're not vaccinated, then you wouldn't be. Then I don't think Norwegian would allow you to be on the cruise. I don't think any of them would at this point. Viking is good, Vicky. Well, I think that the Scandinavian countries in general are further along in terms of environmental, just in terms of care about the environment than the US. Yeah, Viking is very expensive, but you're also going to pay extra for stuff too, like recycling, organic. I think one of the companies, it may be Viking, has started their own green. They have, you know how you have the central area in most cruise areas? Well, that whole area, that part of that area in the new ships is going to be converted to a greenhouse. Have you ever gone to Iceland where they have that restaurant where you can go and get tomato soup, and the restaurant is a greenhouse and there are plants growing everywhere? That model, and I think they're growing cucumbers and other things. That's the model they're working on for the cruise lines. Think about that. Is that not surreal? The world we're living in. It's green recycling, so nothing gets wasted. You float around. They're getting rid of fuel, and instead it's going to be eco-friendly fuel to travel. Right? They're not going to be using oil anymore. Everything gets recycled into compost, and the vegetables are grown on the ship. That's the future of cruising. Is that not cool? So it's like you order tomato soup and you're on the cruise, and the tomatoes are just like at that Friederhof restaurant. I think, see, this is something that, yeah, like a living garden on the cruise. They were like, the only reason I found out about this was because I was on the Norwegian cruise, and all the people who were in management had gone to a training where they were talking about the future ships. And the guy at the concierge thing, the manager of the concierge, was like all excited, blabbering to everybody else in the concierge about some of the gardens and things. And yeah, and gardens, you'll be able to walk gardens. I mean, my God, they're doing it. They're literally creating these floating cities. It's really amazing. Yeah, boats with trees and boats with food. Want to go to Morocco? The only downside is I looked at the flights and there's no direct from Portland. It's like an 18-hour. I want something that's a direct flight. Holland America got a really bad eco rating, though. I checked, unless it's changed. Check with the Ocean Conservancy for which cruise lines. I think Holland got a really bad. They got a really bad rating. Fried green tomatoes, yummy, yum, yum. A booster depends on, it depends on infection rates. So if you're looking at calculations, when we look at graphs on public health, and when we look at exponential growth of infection in, say, a partially vaccinated population, those are all things that go into calculating public health policy. It's a really good question. Who asked that? Bora and Katie G. So if we are talking about, say, 2,000 Americans dying every day from COVID, then and it's now, I think, the leading cause of death in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. That's why we're talking about boosters. Now, if everybody was vaccinated or if we had a really high vaccination rate and we didn't have these numbers, then there wouldn't be this diligent concern that people, vulnerable populations, get their boosters. I mean, particularly somebody who's a senior that may have a depressed immune system because of a pre-existing condition, like with Colin Powell, who had multiple myeloma, which is, definitely a type of cancer that can have an impact on the immune system. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me on a Monday night and not talking about politics, talking about other cool stuff, talking about celebrities, talking about fun vacations we'd all like to take. Blood cancers, yes, dyscrasias, the blood cancers. Very good, Renee. I was going to call Renee today. Speak hi, Renee. And I was too tired. It's going to be like, we should go out and do something. Maybe go look at knickknacks. It was one of those days. Sometimes you just have to force yourself out to do something. Japan, Canada, and Mexico. Ooh, I like it. Japan, I think I would want to stay more than 5 days, though. I think when I do go to Japan, I would want it to be. You did too, Renee? You took a cat nap too? Yeah, something in the air. It'll be interesting to see what Diane and some of the other tarot readers say about this energy and also the astrologers, because it's just like, it's a very, wow. That's, I felt so out of it that I literally made myself a cup of coffee at 5:30 because I knew I wanted to hang out, but yeah, I was really out of it. Locus, if you don't know what your ex-boyfriend wants to get from you, you should block it and run. Something not good. Yeah, Japan, that's the whole, when you can't sleep, the whole, what was the name of that movie that was made about that with Bill Murray? Yeah, I think if I do Japan, though, I'll probably be gone at least 2 weeks. Other high causes of death are hunger. In the U.S., though, the blood moon is coming. Oh, I love that. Bali for 2 weeks. Ooh. Lovely. All right, love and light. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. If you want to do this again, let me know. Have a nice night. And if you can think of a really cool cruise, let me know. Bye, everybody. Night, night.